Hello folks, Israel Epstein here from 2 Hour Lunch. I wanted to come and do a little video for you about some interesting things. You know, we were planning for the Feast of Sukkot, which is where we sleep in tents for 7 days to commemorate our ancestors leaving Egypt and living in sukkahs. And we started looking around at places to camp in and around the Phoenix area. And what we discovered, much to our shock and dismay, is that we are hemmed in and penned up like wild animals. I myself right now am about 10 feet off of the trail and am in violation of the law. They have, I certainly don't usually camp around the designated areas. Since I was a young boy, I've been camping, and it was always in the wilderness areas. My father would take us in a boat with all of our camping gear in the boat, and we would go off to some secluded part of the lake where it was totally inaccessible by vehicle, and camp like that. That was a real adventure. And these days, it's totally different. Like when I used to go up to the mountains when I was even 18 or 19 years old, I would go up there and you'd be going down a mountain road, it's winding, and there's trails that go off of the main road in just about every direction. And you can follow those trails for miles and miles and miles back into the wilderness where there was no one. Well, in the early 90s, they began to block off all of those trails. They would take giant boulders and block them off, so no access. And they began to herd people into designated campground areas where you are only allowed to camp in that spot, nowhere else, which is an absolute travesty. Now this year for the Feast of Sukkot, that we weren't able really to go and do an extended camping trip. We had a lot going on, so we'll just be camping out in the backyard. But we'll also we're thinking about just doing an overnight trip to one of our local regional parks, because I have had recreation in our regional parks before, and we've got the White Tanks Regional Park and Lake Pleasant Regional Park and the Hassayampa River Preserve. And what I discovered when I went to look into data on camping in these places is that A, you have to pay to get your vehicle into the park. B, you have to pay to camp overnight. And C, the entire park is closed to camping except for one designated spot that is about 1 acre out of these thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of open wilderness. There's about 1.5 to 2 acres of property that is open for camping. And this is like with stone picnic tables and a built-in barbecue and electricity and flush toilets over here and a place to hook up your RV. That's not, they do have what is called dry camping or primitive camp spots here in this park. I am right now in the White Tanks Regional Park, and they're closed, and they do no longer permit any camping except in that one designated spot, period. And I talked to the lady on the phone who was a representative of this park, and she said that was something that got handed down from Maricopa County, and we're not sure why, and we're not happy about it. We have beautiful, primitive designated campsites open all across the mountain range, but they have been closed down and access blocked. Maricopa County has shut it down. So that's really unfortunate. Now, my father used to actually tell me back in the early 2000s about Agenda 21, where they were herding people out of the wilderness areas and into designated areas because they don't want people in pristine wilderness conditions. It's much easier to clean up after them. You know, people are easier to manage if you don't allow them to go off into the wilderness. I understand that. And that's a real shame. And I see the definition. I mean, I see why they do that, because in some places that I go to go shooting, people will go out there and bring trash to shoot at, blow it up into a million pieces, and leave those million pieces scattered around the ground with shell casings, empty shotgun shell casings, broken glass. You guys have seen us shoot, and we never shoot glass. The worst thing we've ever shot is a biodegradable clay pigeon. But we never shoot glass, and we don't take out into the desert our trash in order to shoot it. There are some places in the desert around here that are just heaped with trash that shooters have brought out there and left after they blew it up. So I understand that there are absolute, what my father would call, knuckle draggers who come out into these beautiful wilderness places and trash them and ruin it for everybody. But for the love of God, let's punish the evildoers instead of punishing everyone. See, but no, that would be too easy. And here's another thing. Around here we have what is called state trust land, and I'm sure you're familiar with the term and what it is. But you actually the Sierra Club and some of these more progressive organizations that believe that the planet is more important than the people on the planet. I guess they think that if all the people die, that'd be okay, because eventually evolution would cause some new people to come up and they might take better care of the planet. It's probably what many of them are hoping for. So the thinning of the herd, culling of the human population. But anyway, I digress. The Sierra Club says that the state trust land is not public land. Now that's a mystery to me, because state trust land, by its very definition, is land that is owned by the state that is held in trust. Now the state is not an entity. It is a representation of the people residing in that state. So if you go to the Arizona, Department of Land, and you look at state trust land, it actually declares on their webpage, state trust land is not public land. Well, if it's not public and it's not private, what is it? The best thing I can come up with is it's restricted. If you want to go there and do anything on it, you have to have a use permit. Now here's something funny. You can hunt on state trust land, but you cannot target shoot. In fact, you can't even sight in your rifle on a target on state trust land. So, I used to think, and I still do to an extent, that Arizona was a little bit of a conservative versus political state. It was more conservative, had a little bit more freedom, but that is rapidly slipping away. as evidenced by the fact that in this thousands of acres of parkland, you can only legally camp in one designated spot, and the people who run the park don't even know why, and tell you we have beautiful primitive camping spots that are designated for that, but the county shut them all down. I am so tired of this place and these people who know better than we do and want to herd us like cattle and tell us and restrict our freedoms and restrict our movement and give us electric cars that can only drive so far, so you can't actually get out of the city. And they worship a god of nature. They worship the earth. They believe that the earth and the animals on the earth are more important than the people on the earth. Now, I am a conservationist. In fact, I don't hunt. I know how to hunt, and I have hunted when I was a boy, but I made a decision, it wasn't even a conscious decision, when I was, a young man, that I didn't want to kill things. I didn't really live in the wilderness, and it would, it's quite a task to get a permit, get a license, plan the trip, spend hundreds of dollars for a tag. They've made it prohibitive in order to hunt. And if you want to catch this type of fish, you need a stamp for that kind of fish. If you want to catch this type of fish, you need a stamp for that kind of fish. If you want to shoot this kind of bird, you need a different stamp for that kind of bird. It's all about them just raping us of any money that we, possibly have. But I am a conservatory type of person, a conservationist, excuse me. If I go fishing, I catch and release. If I don't hunt, but when I did, I just shot rabbits and squirrels. But once I learned Torah and discovered that those things were unclean, I don't eat those. And I have grocery stores where I can go and buy food for now. But I do have hunting skills, and I have hunted when I was younger. But, we need to have more people who are willing to take care of the environment and treat it with dignity and respect, because I totally do understand why these progressives want to keep people away from things that are pretty, because people are ugly and they destroy things. And I agree. I totally understand that. But good God, you don't have to corral everybody and keep them away so you can't even see it. I mean, you got a trail on this mountain that is 3 feet wide, and it is illegal to leave the trail. And it's just silly. So I just wanted to make this little short conversation with you about the severe restrictions that are placed on the freedom of your movement and the freedom of your, gathering places, and your ability to get away from cities is being curtailed rapidly. And some of you people who are conspiracy types, you have names for it, you have ideas about it, and I understand those things. I generally am not a conspiratorialist. I just kind of let that stuff roll off my back. Do I know that it's happening? Do I know that it's real? Yeah. Do I ascribe it to some nefarious organization? I don't know. Maybe. Call up your state representative. Go into their office. Write them letters and tell them, repeal these restrictive laws on my freedoms. Do not pass any more laws, period. Stop passing laws. We do not need any more. You guys keep going. I'm trying to record here. You're interrupting my recording. I'll catch up with you. I'll catch up with you in just a sec. I'm almost done.
Okay.
So get on the phone, contact your state representative, get on some stationery and write a letter. Go down there. Tell them, repeal the laws that are restricting my freedoms. Do not pass any more laws, period. We have too many. Repeal them. Repeal, repeal, repeal. I want people in office now that are on, you know what, that should be the new party platform of the Republicans, the Conservatives, the Tea Party, the Libertarians. I mean, whoever wants to take up that mantle to say, we are the party of repealing laws. Just get rid of them. We have way too many laws that we don't even enforce. And we just keep making up more that aren't going to be enforced. And our freedoms are just being stripped away little by little, more and more, every month, every year, until we are herded into a city and we can't even leave. So folks, pull your head out of your butt and please do something to remedy this. Or not, as the case may be. This is Israel Epstein from 2 Hour Lunch saying, please do something about these stupid restrictions on my land. See you later.